Life is finite, and the sooner you come to terms with that fact, the more urgent your actions will become. Every second that passes is one you will never get back. You are not an observer in this process. You are an active participant. You are either moving forward or falling behind. There is no standing still because time does not wait for you to catch up. It moves relentlessly, indifferent to your desires, your fears, and your procrastination. People live as though they have endless tomorrows. They tell themselves they will start tomorrow, that next week will be different, that someday when the conditions are just right, they will finally take action. But tomorrow is an illusion. Someday is a mirage. The only time that ever truly belongs to you is this moment, right now. And what you do with it determines the trajectory of your entire life. Think about how much time people waste. They spend hours scrolling through social media, numbing themselves with distractions, engaging in meaningless arguments, and chasing the approval of people who don't even matter. They tell themselves they are busy, that they are doing something, when in reality they are avoiding the very thing they should be focused on, their own progress. Imagine if all those wasted hours were channeled into building something meaningful, into developing a skill, into improving one's health, mind, or relationships. The difference would be staggering. The truth is, most people are terrified of time because it forces them to confront their own inaction. They would rather avoid thinking about the fact that they are aging, that opportunities are slipping away, that their dreams are being buried under layers of excuses. But ignoring reality does not change it. In fact, it only makes the consequences more severe. The longer you delay, the harder it becomes to change. Time does not forgive hesitation. If you truly understood how little time you had, you would not waste it on trivial matters. You would stop seeking validation from people who contribute nothing to your life. You would stop complaining about things outside your control. You would stop waiting for the perfect moment and start working with what you have. Because in the end, what you have is all you will ever have, and it is enough if you use it wisely. Regret is one of the heaviest burdens a person can carry, and it is always tied to time. No one reaches the end of their life wishing they had spent more time on distractions or seeking approval from others. They regret the chances they didn't take, the potential they never fulfilled, the relationships they neglected, and the dreams they let die. The greatest tragedy is not failure, it is never trying in the first place. Failure is painful, but it is also a lesson. Regret, on the other hand, is a weight that never leaves. There's no secret formula to overcoming this. The answer is simple: act now. Stop telling yourself you will begin when you feel ready. Readiness is a myth. There is no perfect moment, no ideal set of circumstances. The people who succeed are not necessarily the smartest, the most talented, or the ones with the best resources. They are the ones who move despite uncertainty, who take action even when they don't feel prepared. They understand that time rewards those who respect it. This is not to say you should live in fear of time. Fear leads to paralysis. Instead, you should respect time as the most valuable asset you have. When you respect time, you use it wisely. You structure your days with purpose. You invest in yourself, in your growth, in things that actually matter. You set goals not as distant fantasies, but as urgent priorities. You wake up each day knowing that you are moving towards something meaningful. And meaning is what makes life worth living. Without it, time feels empty, like an endless cycle of passing days with no real direction. When you find something worth dedicating yourself to, time becomes your ally. Every moment spent working toward that purpose becomes meaningful. Even the struggles, the setbacks, and the failures become valuable because they are part of something greater. But you cannot afford to delay this realization. The worst thing you can do is assume you have more time than you actually do. One day you will wake up and realize that the time to act has passed, that the doors you once thought would always be open have closed. And when that day comes, you will either look back with pride at how you spent your time or be haunted by the things you never did. The choice is yours. You can continue living as though time is infinite, as though you have all the time in the world to figure things out. Or you can wake up, take responsibility, and start making the most of the time you have left. No one else can make this choice for you, but one thing is certain: time will continue moving, whether you choose to act or not. So what will you do? People spend far too much time seeking approval from others, often at the cost of their own identity, dreams, and well-being. From a young age, we are conditioned to crave validation. Approval from parents, teachers, friends, and society becomes a measure of self-worth. The problem is that this external validation is fleeting, unreliable, and ultimately a poor foundation on which to build a meaningful life. The more you chase approval, the further you stray from your authentic self, and the more you allow your life to be dictated by forces beyond your control. At the root of this need for approval is a fear of rejection. People fear being judged, criticized, or excluded. They believe that if they do not conform to the expectations of others, they will be abandoned or deemed unworthy. This fear leads to a constant struggle to please others, to fit in, and to avoid stepping outside the lines of social acceptance. But in doing so, people sacrifice something far greater: their own autonomy. They become prisoners of other people's opinions, trapped in a cycle where their happiness and self-esteem depend on whether or not they are liked, respected, or admired. One of the greatest illusions in life is the belief that other people's opinions matter more than your own. The truth is, most people are too preoccupied with their own lives to spend much time thinking about yours. The harsh reality is that no matter what you do, you will never please everyone. There will always be someone who disapproves, criticizes, or misunderstands your choices. You cannot control how others perceive you, but you can control whether or not you let their opinions dictate your decisions. The moment you realize this, you free yourself from a tremendous burden. People who seek approval often mold themselves into something they are not. They suppress their true opinions, hide their ambitions, and avoid taking risks because they are afraid of how they will be perceived. They stay in unfulfilling jobs, maintain toxic relationships, and engage in behaviors that do not align with their values, all because they fear disappointing someone else. But living inauthentically comes at a cost. The more you suppress your true self, the more resentment and dissatisfaction you will feel. Eventually, you may wake up one day and realize that the life you have built is not your own. It is a patchwork of compromises made to satisfy others. True confidence and fulfillment come from within, not from the approval of others. It comes from knowing who you are, what you value, and what you want out of life, regardless of whether or not others agree. This requires a fundamental shift in mindset. Instead of asking, "What will people think?" ask, "What do I think?" Instead of waiting for permission to pursue your goals, give yourself permission. Instead of seeking validation from others, validate yourself by taking action, setting goals, and staying true to your principles. This does not mean disregarding all feedback or becoming indifferent to relationships. Constructive criticism from people who genuinely care about you can be valuable, but there is a difference between learning from others and living for their approval. The key is to recognize whose opinions matter and whose do not. A stranger's criticism, a negative comment online, or the judgment of someone who does not understand your path should not hold power over you. The opinions that should carry weight are those of people who genuinely support you, challenge you to improve, and want to see you succeed, not those who seek to control or undermine you. Letting go of approval seeking requires the courage to stand alone. This is not easy. It means making decisions that others may not understand. It means pursuing goals that may not be popular. It means taking risks that could lead to failure and criticism. But the alternative is far worse: a life spent conforming, compromising, and never truly knowing what you are capable of. The greatest achievements in history were made by people who refused to let the opinions of others define them. Innovators, artists, entrepreneurs, and leaders all had to face rejection, doubt, and criticism. If they had prioritized approval over their own vision, the world would have never known their contribution. The reality is that people respect those who have the courage to be themselves. Authenticity is rare, and those who embrace it stand out. When you stop seeking approval, you become someone who operates on their own terms, who is not easily swayed by trends, who does not need external praise to feel worthy. You become someone who is self-assured, resilient, and focused on what truly matters. The time and energy spent worrying about what others think could be used to build something meaningful. It could be spent learning, growing, and creating. Every moment spent seeking validation is a moment not spent becoming a better version of yourself. Imagine what could be accomplished if all the energy wasted on approval seeking were redirected towards self-improvement, purpose, and personal fulfillment. The difference would be life-changing. Discipline is the foundation of success, growth, and self-mastery. It is the ability to do what needs to be done even when you do not feel like doing it. It is what separates those who achieve their goals from those who simply dream about them. Without discipline, talent is wasted, potential is never realized, and progress remains an illusion. The problem is that many people rely on motivation to take action, but motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes, often appearing in bursts, but quickly fading when difficulties arise. Discipline, however, is different. It is consistent, dependable, and unaffected by mood or circumstance. Those who cultivate discipline do not wait until they feel ready. They act regardless of how they feel. The modern world is full of distractions, temptations, and excuses. There are endless opportunities to avoid hard work, to procrastinate, to indulge in comfort instead of pushing through discomfort. Social media, entertainment, and instant gratification have conditioned people to seek immediate pleasure rather than long-term fulfillment. But discipline requires a different mindset. It requires choosing what is difficult over what is easy. It means delaying gratification, sacrificing short-term comfort for long-term success, and committing to a path even when the rewards are not immediately visible. One of the greatest misconceptions about discipline is that it is restrictive, that it limits freedom and makes life rigid and unpleasant. In reality, the opposite is true. A lack of discipline leads to chaos, inconsistency, and a life controlled by impulses rather than purpose. When you are disciplined, you gain control over your actions, your time, and ultimately your future. You are no longer at the mercy of distractions or fleeting emotions. You decide what gets done and when it gets done, and because of that, you make progress while others remain stagnant. The most successful people in any field are not necessarily the most talented or intelligent. They are the ones who show up every day regardless of how they feel. The athlete who trains when they are tired. The writer who writes even when uninspired. The entrepreneur who works on their vision despite setbacks. These are the people who accomplish extraordinary things. They understand that discipline is not about being in the mood to work. It is about committing to work, whether the mood is there or not. Discipline is also closely tied to self-respect. When you set goals for yourself and fail to follow through, you begin to lose trust in your own word. You tell yourself that you will wake up early, but you hit snooze. You plan to eat healthy, but you reach for junk food. You promise to work on a project, but you find an excuse to put it off. Each time this happens, you reinforce the idea that your word means nothing. Over time, this erodes your confidence and makes it even harder to take yourself seriously. But when you develop discipline, you rebuild that trust. You become someone who follows through, who does what they say they will do, who holds themselves accountable. And when you can trust yourself, you develop an unshakable inner strength. There will always be obstacles, challenges, and moments of doubt. Discipline does not eliminate these difficulties. It prepares you to handle them. When you train yourself to act despite discomfort, you become resilient. You learn to push past excuses, to keep moving forward even when the path is unclear. This is the difference between those who achieve greatness and those who settle for mediocrity. The disciplined person does not wait for perfect conditions. They create progress in any condition. Building discipline is not about making drastic changes overnight. It is about small, consistent actions repeated over time. It starts with setting clear goals, establishing routines, and holding yourself accountable. It means eliminating distractions, developing strong habits, and embracing discomfort as a necessary part of growth. The more you practice discipline, the stronger it becomes. It is like a muscle. The more you use it, the more powerful it gets. The rewards of discipline extend beyond just success. A disciplined person experiences greater self-respect, mental clarity, and inner peace. They are not constantly battling themselves over unfinished tasks, unmet goals, or wasted time. They live with purpose, knowing that their actions are aligned with their values and aspirations. There is no greater satisfaction than knowing you are in control of your own destiny, that you are not a victim of circumstance, but a master of your own life. Discipline is not easy, but it is necessary. Those who master it achieve more, experience deeper fulfillment, and leave a lasting impact on the world. The choice is simple. Either become disciplined or remain stuck in a cycle of inconsistency, regret, and unfulfilled potential. No one can make this choice for you. But once you commit to discipline, everything in your life begins to change. Many people spend their lives blaming external circumstances for their struggles. They complain about the government, their upbringing, their financial situation, or how unfair the world is. While external factors do play a role in shaping our lives, the truth is that nothing will change until we take responsibility for ourselves. The first step to improving your life is fixing yourself first. Before trying to change the world, before pointing fingers at others, before expecting different results, you must look inward. Without self-improvement, no amount of external change will bring you lasting success or fulfillment. One of the most common mistakes people make is believing that their problems are caused by others. They think their boss is holding them back, that their family is to blame for their failures, or that society is preventing them from achieving their goals. But this mindset keeps them stuck in a cycle of victimhood. The moment you decide to fix yourself first, you reclaim control over your life. You stop waiting for someone else to change things for you. You realize that the only person who can improve your situation is you. The first step in fixing yourself is taking an honest look at your own flaws. This is not easy. It requires humility and self-awareness. Most people avoid self-reflection because it forces them to confront uncomfortable truths. They would rather distract themselves than acknowledge their weaknesses. But growth is impossible without self-examination. If your life is not where you want it to be, ask yourself why. Are you disciplined? Are you making good decisions? Are you taking responsibility for your actions? If the answer is no, then you have work to do. Fixing yourself also means developing strong habits. Many people live in chaos with no structure or discipline. They stay up late, waste time on meaningless distractions, eat poorly, and neglect their responsibilities. Then they wonder why their lives are a mess. If you want to fix yourself, start by bringing order to your own life. Establish a routine. Wake up at a consistent time. Take care of your body. Learn new skills. Set goals and work toward them. Small changes may seem insignificant at first, but over time, they create massive transformations. Another important aspect of fixing yourself is taking control of your emotions. Many people allow their emotions to dictate their actions. They lash out in anger, give up when they feel discouraged, or make impulsive decisions based on temporary feelings. But emotions are unreliable. If you let them control you, your life will be unstable and unpredictable. Emotional discipline means learning to control your reactions, staying calm under pressure, and making decisions based on logic rather than impulse. It means not allowing setbacks to destroy your motivation and not letting criticism shake your confidence. Fixing yourself also requires intellectual and personal growth. Many people stop learning after school. They go through life with the same mindset, the same limited knowledge, and the same outdated beliefs. But the world is constantly evolving, and if you are not learning, you are falling behind. Read books, study successful people, expose yourself to new ideas, challenge your own beliefs. The more you learn, the better equipped you are to handle life's challenges. Your physical health is another critical part of fixing yourself. Many people neglect their bodies, consuming junk food, avoiding exercise, and living sedentary lives. Then they wonder why they feel tired, unmotivated, and mentally foggy. Your body and mind are connected. When you take care of your physical health, you feel better, think clearer, and perform at a higher level. Make exercise a priority. Eat real, nutritious food. Get enough sleep. These simple habits have a profound impact on every area of your life. Another crucial part of self-improvement is fixing your relationships. Many people struggle with toxic relationships, poor communication, or unresolved conflicts. Instead of blaming others, take responsibility for how you interact with people. Are you honest? Are you reliable? Do you treat others with respect? If your relationships are suffering, examine your own behavior first. Improve your communication skills. Set boundaries with toxic people. Surround yourself with those who inspire you rather than drag you down. One of the most powerful benefits of fixing yourself first is that it allows you to help others more effectively. Many people want to change the world, but have not even mastered themselves. They want to give advice, lead others, or solve big problems, yet their own lives are in chaos. The best way to influence others is by setting an example. When people see you taking responsibility, working hard, and improving yourself, they will respect you. They may even be inspired to do the same. At the core of fixing yourself is taking full ownership of your life. This means no more excuses, no more blaming others, no more waiting for the right time. If something is wrong in your life, address it. If you are not where you want to be, change it. You may not be responsible for everything that has happened to you, but you are responsible for what you do about it. Competence is the foundation of true strength. It is not enough to simply want to be strong, respected, or successful. One must earn it through skill, effort, and mastery. Strength, whether physical, intellectual, or emotional, does not come from wishful thinking or external validation. It is built through competence, the ability to handle challenges with confidence and effectiveness. When you become competent in any area of life, you naturally become stronger, more capable, and more resilient. Competence breeds strength because it gives you the tools to face adversity, solve problems, and take control of your own destiny. Many people desire strength but do not put in the effort to develop competence. They want to be respected without proving their value. They want success without mastering a craft. They want confidence without building the skills that create true self-assurance. But real strength is not based on empty confidence or arrogance. It comes from knowing that you are capable. When you are competent, you do not need to pretend to be strong. You simply are. You have the experience, knowledge, and skills to back up your confidence. Competence is built through discipline and practice. No one starts out being great at anything. Every expert was once a beginner. The difference between those who become strong and those who remain weak is their willingness to put in the work. Strength is a byproduct of consistently improving and refining your abilities. The more competent you become, the less fearful you are. Challenges that once seemed overwhelming become manageable. You no longer feel helpless in the face of difficulties because you have trained yourself to handle them. A competent person is independent and self-reliant. They do not wait for others to solve their problems. They take initiative. They do not rely on luck or external circumstances. They create opportunities through their own abilities. This self-sufficiency is a form of strength that sets them apart. In contrast, those who lack competence are often dependent on others. They struggle to navigate life's challenges because they have not taken the time to develop the skills necessary to handle them. They remain in a state of weakness, always looking for someone else to fix their problems. Competence also breeds mental and emotional strength. When you are skilled in a particular area, you do not second guess yourself. You do not crumble under pressure because you know you have the ability to find a solution. A competent person remains calm in difficult situations because they trust in their training and experience. They do not let fear control them because they have prepared for the challenges they face. This level of self-assurance is only possible through competence. The process of becoming competent requires embracing failure. Many people avoid difficult tasks because they are afraid of looking foolish or making mistakes. But failure is an essential part of growth. Every failure is an opportunity to learn and improve. Those who become strong understand that mistakes are not setbacks. They are stepping stones to mastery. They do not give up when they struggle. They adjust, refine, and push forward. Weakness comes from avoiding difficulty, but strength comes from facing it head on. Competence is also the key to earning respect. People respect those who are skilled, knowledgeable, and effective. You cannot demand respect, you must prove that you are worthy of it. If you want to be taken seriously in any field, you must demonstrate competence. This is true in every area of life, whether it is your career, relationships, or personal growth. People naturally admire those who know what they are doing and can deliver results. Strength is not just about power, it is about being capable and reliable. One of the most powerful aspects of competence is the freedom it brings. When you are competent, you do not have to rely on others to take care of you. You do not have to fear uncertainty because you trust in your own ability to adapt and overcome. A competent person can walk into any situation with confidence, knowing they have the skills to handle whatever comes their way. This kind of strength is invaluable because it gives you control over your own life. Competence must be developed in all areas of life. It is not enough to be good at one thing while neglecting everything else. A strong person is well-rounded. They are physically strong, mentally sharp, emotionally stable, and socially competent. They understand that true strength comes from mastering multiple aspects of life. If you are only competent in one area but weak in others, you are still vulnerable. True strength requires a balance of skills and abilities. Developing competence takes time and effort. It requires patience, consistency, and a willingness to push through discomfort, but the rewards are worth it. When you become competent, you gain confidence, respect, and independence. You no longer feel powerless in the face of challenges. You no longer have to rely on others to solve your problems. You become a person who can be trusted, who can lead, and who can face adversity with resilience. Competence is the foundation of all true strength. Without it, confidence is just an illusion and power is temporary. But when you dedicate yourself to mastery, to improving your skills and knowledge, you build a strength that cannot be taken away. You become someone who is capable, reliable, and unstoppable. And in the end, that is what separates those who succeed from those who struggle. Competence is what makes strength real. In life, people often find themselves stuck, uncertain, or overwhelmed by the challenges they face. They overthink, analyze every possibility, and wait for the perfect moment to act. But in reality, no amount of thinking, planning, or hoping will create progress. The only way forward is action. It is through action that dreams become reality, problems get solved, and personal growth occurs. Without action, everything remains theoretical. Potential is wasted, opportunities are missed, and life remains stagnant. Many people fall into the trap of waiting. They wait for the right time, the right circumstances, or the right mood. They tell themselves they will start tomorrow, next week, or when they feel ready. But the truth is, there is no perfect moment. If you wait until you feel prepared, you will never start. Life does not reward those who hesitate. It rewards those who take action despite uncertainty. The only way to gain confidence, skill, and experience is by doing. Action is what separates those who achieve from those who merely wish. The world is full of people with dreams, ideas, and ambitions, but only a small percentage turn those into reality. The difference is action. Many people have the ability to succeed, but they never take the first step. They remain stuck in their comfort zones, paralyzed by fear or self-doubt. But comfort zones are prisons. The only way to grow is by stepping outside of them, by taking risks, by doing the difficult things that others avoid. Taking action does not mean you will always succeed. In fact, failure is a natural part of the process, but failure through action is still progress. Every mistake teaches a lesson, every setback builds resilience, and every effort moves you forward in some way. The only real failure is inaction. If you do nothing, you learn nothing, gain nothing, and remain exactly where you are. The most successful people are not those who never fail, but those who keep moving forward despite failure. People often overthink their decisions, trying to plan every step in advance. While planning has its place, excessive planning without execution is just another form of procrastination. No plan survives reality unchanged. Life is unpredictable, and no amount of preparation will remove all uncertainty. The best way to figure things out is by doing. Action provides feedback, reveals strengths and weaknesses, and shows you what works and what doesn't. I've described you do not need to have everything figured out before you start. Just start and adjust along the way. One of the greatest benefits of action is momentum. When you take the first step, even if it is small, it becomes easier to take the next one. Progress fuels motivation, and each completed task builds confidence. The hardest part is always the beginning. Once you push through the initial resistance, action becomes a habit. But if you remain idle, it becomes harder to start. Hesitation and regret, while action creates progress, clarity, and growth. Fear is one of the biggest barriers to action. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of making the wrong choice. But fear is only powerful if you allow it to stop you. The only way to overcome fear is by facing it. The more you take action despite fear, the weaker that fear becomes. Action builds courage. You realize that most fears are exaggerated, that failure is not the end, and that you are capable of handling more than you thought. Action is also essential for self-improvement. Many people read books, watch videos, or listen to advice, but never apply what they learn. Knowledge without action is useless. It does not matter how much information you gather if you do not put it into practice. The only way to improve is by doing. You do not become a better writer by thinking about writing. You write. You do not get stronger by reading about exercise. You train. You do not develop skills by watching others. You practice. Action is the bridge between knowledge and results.